Hi all, it's Emily Rand with ESPN Esports. I am joined by Team Liquid 80 carry Doublelift after a close game, I guess. How would you describe that game?
An int game.
So we've seen really strong performances from you guys. Like I thought your Damwon draft and execution was really smart. And then today was, the exact opposite. So I guess what is between the highs and lows of your team thus far in the group stage?
I think that the main thing, I think overall we've been drafting fine. Like, I wouldn't say that we had like an amazing draft against Stan one. I think it was just both sides was playable to certain win conditions. So we focused a lot on like having enough versatility for Worlds to like at least have some sort of win conditioning against like any team, just like being flexible like that. But then the problem really comes down to sometimes we are not really sure how to play the game and like proceed. And so like obviously there's like basic League of Legends stuff where like you push out the side lane, they catch it, and like you group, and if they're splitting, you try to force stuff like that. But like as far as like basic macro goes, I think we have that down. It just comes down into like the nuances of like, well, like who should be sitting in fog of war and who shouldn't, and like who's like able to in this game, who's able to like get their flankers out of position or like at least like give us vision of them face to face. And we just ended up like playing out the game really wrong. And I would say like similarly against IG, like we weren't aggressive enough, and we thought that we could take it slow, but we obviously like should not have taken it slow. So there's just a lot of like fundamental like I guess like differences in opinion in the game because we have a lot of voices. And sometimes having a lot of voices can be really good because you have a lot of options, and sometimes having too many options paralyzes the team a bit. And I think that's maybe the biggest problem that we're having now is yeah, like we're playing really bad sometimes, really well sometimes. I would say it's hard to choose the right thing to do.
And then what was the reaction in comms when Jake stole the Baron?
Honestly, it's just like any other day these days. Like Jake's so good at Baron steals. I actually have this weird thing where like I can sense when he's about to steal Baron, and right then I was like, Jake's gonna steal Baron, like for sure. It was a really well executed thing that we did. Like it was like ward into the pit, and then TP on the ward so they can't clear the ward. For those few seconds. Jake saved the game. Like I like literally like I said in the middle of the game, or like as we were ending the game, Jake, you can hit the rest of group stage. Like it's fine because he carried this one, and like yeah, we really had no reason to be in that game. If they got Baron, I think really hard to win, really hard to win game. But the steal kind of like gave us another chance.
And you're now in a three-way tie for first place. What are your key takeaways from first round robin, and how are you going to adjust for the second part?
My key takeaway has essentially just been we need to find our way of progressing the game in like an unconfusing way, and like it's really strange because I feel like on stage people just play differently. Like you probably heard throughout the worlds, there's scrim gods, there's like scrim teams and scrim players, and there's like on stage players. I would say for sure, absolutely without a doubt, we are stage players. When we play scrims, we run it down super hard. But like I think on stage, even though our level of play is like much better, we still have like a lot of, I would just say we're not on the same page sometimes. So we just need to solidify like our thoughts about the game, and like being on the same page is such like a generic term. Really, it's just about you're confronted with a situation, and like before the situation even comes up in the game, you already have a default. You already have something that everyone acknowledges, like this is what we're going to do, and then you're talking about the details. If you're talking about like too many details, then you get really confused, and then we just end up playing like everyone's just running it down, dying constantly, getting caught. Like it's just super chaotic, and I wouldn't say it's like panic. I would just say like we are having a conversation when we should be when we shouldn't be. Like we should just be playing the game. We should just be playing League of Legends like silently, I guess. Sometimes like communicating too much can be confusing.
I know other teams have actually done silent scrims. Is that something you guys have ever thought about or done?
We have had we have tried a lot of things in scrims. I think silent scrims is kind of useless. I think one interesting idea is having a scrim where only one person talks, because then you have this thing where like from start to finish you can see how someone sees the game.
All right. Yeah, that's cool. I was just wondering if you tried that because I know other teams have. Going into second round robin, NA has, let's say, a reputation for not being able to adjust and adapt. So what are you guys going to do to change that this year?
I mean, I think our team has a really high capability of a really high skill ceiling. I just want to say, like, I know like NA has gotten memed super hard, but like individually, some of our players, all of our players, are actually super insane. Like, if you just like kind of like look under a microscope of how everyone's been playing, albeit like I would say this was not like some of my teammates' finest games, Jensen, Inter. Um, um, so like some games obviously are everyone's gonna have a bad game. Even the best teams in the world, some players will have bad games. But like I think individually we match up really well to the best in the world, in my opinion. Like I've seen it in scrims and I've been seeing it on stage as well. Like we are playing really well individually a lot of the time. It's just the teamwork part, you know, the teamwork that doesn't come with the like super team. I guess you have to those aren't included. It's like batteries not included on a toy.
That's why a lot of people say super teams don't work out.
Yeah, I think so. I think part of it is just we have a lot of great players with a lot of strong opinions, and that can be a good and bad thing. It's not like we're arguing, by the way. Like I don't want people to think that we're like self-destructing and we're like really tilted. We are really upset about how we've been performing, but like I think it's more just trying to find like a middle ground where we can all be on the same page. That's our biggest goal. And I think like NA week 2, by the way, like this whole curse thing essentially stems from no adaptation from week 1. Like you have this idea, like for example, this week, it's all about the Kaisazai matchup. I think at this point, since it's day 3 of Worlds, or like, yeah, it's like day 3 of Worlds, everyone understands this matchup really, really well. So when you start incorporating new elements to throw people off of this matchup, or like, you know, new champions, then all of a sudden, like, that's about adaptation. Like that's what adaptation really is. Like you understand certain things about the game, and then like the good teams, the best teams will like innovate and throw new things into the equation. If you're not able to deal with it, or you can't come up with like your own secret stuff, then you just lose.
Well, all the best in adapting. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. And for more League of Legends coverage, keep it here on ESPN Esports.